What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Channel. My name's AJ Gels. How y'all doing? A few days late, as always, because I can't do anything in a timely manner. Honestly, I don't really have an excuse for it this time. I dropped the ball. I got obsessed with PC Building Simulator, and that's basically taken over my life the last day and a half when I've been meaning to record this. So, my bad. I will say, though, PC Building Simulator, really fun game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Either way, not important. That's not why we're here. We are here to finally watch the second episode of Night City Wire. This was, as far as day of recording, 3 days ago. Just kind of looking here through the... If I can find my fucking mouse. Looking through everything that's going to be shown during this. I keep saying this. I love this new YouTube feature with, how it separates all the different chunks of the video. You know, we have the intro. They go over life paths with, some snippets or whatever, dev insights. Then it goes over that band that is going to be the fiction. I want to say they're a Swedish band. Maybe they are a Polish band. I'm not sure. But they pulled a real life rock band to actually be Samurai. The big famous rock band in Cyberpunk. So it's going to be have a chunk over that. Then there's going to be a chunk on weapons and dev insights on weapons. So it's kind of a nice little look at what we're going to see today. I think the life path stuff is going to be the most interesting. I mean, weapons, I'm sure. I'm curious about how they're going to bring that sort of RPG weapon systems into this futuristic sort of shooter environment. Me personally, I've always found that RPGs work a little better in a fantasy setting, strictly because I think it works better with sword and shield and stuff like that, as opposed to shooters. I'm not saying I've never played a good shooter RPG. I'm not even going to say they're far and few between. I just think it's harder to get it to work and have it feel natural and not feel too video gamey, if that makes sense. But in all honesty, I keep saying this. If anyone is up to this task, really just the Herculean task of what we think this game is going to be, what we've kind of been led to believe this game is going to be, if anyone is up to this task, it would be there's very few studios I think could be up to it, and I think CD Projekt Red is one of them. So do not take what I'm saying as, ooh, I'm being pessimistic or I'm being, kind of wary about something. No, I'm very optimistic about this game. But all in all, I think the life path stuff, back onto my main point, I think the life path stuff, I think that actually might be the most interesting, given that I actually think it will affect starting position in the game from some of the stuff I've heard. But, I will go into one thing, because I am thinking about doing something special for Cyberpunk 2077. This is the last point I'll make before we actually hop into the video. I'm just kind of spitballing ideas, so let me know in the comments what you guys think of this idea, and if you're interested in it, I will actually pull the trigger on it. I'm thinking about doing parallel LPs for Cyberpunk 2077, and what I mean by that is I'm thinking about doing 2 Let's Plays for it, where I pick different starting positions. I play a different kind of character, and the focuses of the LPs are a little different. Because one is going to be my traditional, like what I'm doing with Ghost of Tsushima, what I do with my typical RPG kind of stuff, where it's mostly focused on story, side activities, side missions, all that stuff, with a video where we're, with long form videos every so often where we do, exploration and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's focused on, missions and stuff missions, activities, stuff like that. Videos would be from an hour to an hour and a half, my sort of regular content. And the other series, what I'm thinking about doing is having it be pretty much unedited. It's just long form, like I'm talking 2.5 hour videos, where I'm not going to do commentary for it. It's just going to be it's just going to be footage of me playing it, so you can see more of the exploration and just, you see more travel and more just seeing the city in the game. You know, I'm thinking about doing both of those. I mean, I don't think it would take too much extra effort to do that second LP where I won't do commentary. You know, that way I can like do it while I eat dinner, or I can, you know, if I'm just, you know, I just want to play the game. I don't want to sit and necessarily just talk into the microphone and everything. I just want to sit and play and just explore and just kind of just do shit that I maybe wouldn't think would be 100% interesting in a more narrative-focused LP. So, I don't know. I'm just thinking about doing something like that. So, if you're interested in something like that, hey, let me know, and I actually will pull the trigger come November when this game actually comes out. So, either way, I've talked enough. Let's go. You don't believe in no fame. Every day. Hey, more copyrights. Yay. City of dreams, city of...
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Night City Wire. This is the show from us at CD Projekt Red, where we talk about all things Cyberpunk 2077. In today's episode, we're going to be deep...
Okay, super superfluous and, I'm trying to think, superficial. There we go, comment. She is absolutely beautiful. It's her eyes, man.
Diving into
Sorry, I had to say it.
Brand new gameplay video, as well as having a chat to Philip from our Quest team. Then we're going behind the scenes and taking a look at how Refused are bringing the band Samurai to life. And then we're showing you another new gameplay video and having a chat to Pavel, our senior gameplay designer, about just some of the tools of destruction that will be at your disposal in Night City. So let's get started. Street Kid, Nomad, or Corpo? Which will you pick first?
Well, who do we have here? Grew up in Haywood. Whole street was my family. Neighbors helped each other out. Thought nothing of it.
I'm pleased to see you have not forgotten your roots.
Born here, live here, die here.
Childhood memories. Hopping buildings, running away from badges. Iron tasted blood from a split lip.
Motherfucker!
Got everybody fighting for a slice of the street.
Get the fuck out of Vista!
If you keep getting jumped, you find some stronger choopers.
Do you want to spend the rest of your days blasting scabs? Or become a legend overnight?
We have arrived. The Major.
Ready to get your cherry popped? Yeah, come on!
Alright, you know, Street Kid is probably the background that I'm gonna pick for my LP when I do it. You know, the one that I'm definitely doing, you know, the LP that I'm definitely going to do, like I said, the parallel one is a question mark. But the one that I'm definitely gonna do, I'm thinking I'm gonna be I think I'm gonna actually play as a street kid. Have that be my backstory, because it just kind of give you guys, because like I'm already thinking of like the character I want to play. I'm thinking, because if you guys know me, I like to play more kind of a roguish type character, but I think I'm gonna go Netrunner on that one. So I'm kind of thinking kind of like a high intelligence sort of savant like Street Kid, if that makes sense. You know, just an extremely talented hacker with the ability to basically just use pistols. You know, I'm gonna try and keep the, you know, go to lighter weapons, something kind of like that. If anybody kind of gets the background that I'm thinking, kind of like a rags to riches sort of. I don't want to say Robin Hood, but kind of. Not hacker of justice. Again, I keep saying it. I like to play kind of like chaotic neutral, if that makes, you know. I kind of like to, or would it be like lawful? Is there like a lawful neutral? I don't know my oh, Jesus Christ. There's a D&D morality things. I can't think of what they're actually called. But you know what I mean? Like, I like to keep on, just slightly either a bit of a bad guy or a bit of a good guy. So, I'm kind of thinking something like that for my opening character. Although, I guess the other one that I'm also interested in is Nomad. I actually think Corpo might be my least like, I want to see all of them, and I'm gonna see all of them. But I think Corpo actually might be the one I'm least interested in. Because I think for the second LP, if I do it, I want to play as a nomad and be more of a solo, be more of a just more of a mercenary gunslinger sort of thing.
My childhood, let's see, racing my bobber for the first time through the hills. Oh, and first kiss in the middle of a synth cornfield.
We nomads choose who to make our family. And choice forges strong bonds and a higher duty that stands solid as an old oak.
My family's in pieces. That's why I'm headed for Night City.
Makes you an outcast among outcasts.
Miss this, camaraderie.
I know. I saw it in your heart the first time we met. You know what I always liked about nomads? Your taste, no, hunger for freedom. Not easy to come by in Night City. Corp's got their grubby claws and everything.
I really find the Badlands area of this game so fascinating, and I don't know why. I think if it wasn't for the hyper futuristic cityscape, the Badlands wouldn't be as interesting as they are because it seems so Mad Max to me. So I kind of like that. It's not necessarily that the Badlands are so interesting in and of themselves. Granted, I do like Mad Max, and I like that aesthetic. I love the Mad Max video game, for fuck's sake. But it's that... I'm trying to think of the word for it. It's that sort of comparison between the two. I for some reason, I can't think of the word right now. I know I usually have a decent vocabulary, and it's failing me right now. But it's the it's the differences between the two that I think make each of them so interesting. That it's, if I want to get out of this big city or whatever, I can go out into the Badlands and I can see more of kind of like a Mad Max kind of future. But if I want to get out of that, I can go back into the bright neon lights of the city. In a weird way, it kind of reminds me of GTA 5. Where, you could go out into, Shady Shores or Sandy Shores, whatever the fuck it was. You could go out into Trevor's neck of the woods. You can kind of be out in the country and away from the city. But then if you get bored of that, you can go back into the city. It just kind of gives you a nice change of pace.
Have those reports you asked for.
They were supposed to be ready yesterday.
The world's going to tear us apart when the word gets around.
The world's never going to find out.
If I go down, you're going down with me. No! I'm not fucking joking.
This isn't a request, V. But no way you're fucked, right? You're the one who fixes other people's shit.
If you're working Arasaka counter intel, you're always fucked.
Today, they got you to zero somebody. Tomorrow, they'll get somebody else to zero you.
What's the rules, Jack? Want to be top? Gotta have some skin in the game.
Yeah, but you're not on top. Saburo Arasaka is. And you're the pendejo who keeps him there. Work for yourself, live for yourself. That's the only way.
Now I'm thinking that maybe playing as a Corpo might fit my Netrunner type character more. God damn it, I can't wait.
It is so good to see you again. It's actually been a while since I've had a chance to interview you about...
Can you guys believe that we're only really like a few months away from this? Again, I know we've probably been thinking, holy shit, we're a few months away from Cyberpunk 2077 a few times, but it feels more real this time to me. Because again, I feel like... I'm trying to think how to put it. I think CD Projekt Red, granted they've delayed this a few times, some of it's not been necessarily their fault. I think that they wouldn't be building hype like this just to delay it again. That's my opinion. Just because they don't strike me as a developer to do that. So I'm just really buying into the hype here. I'm really getting excited for this. It's so hard to believe, though, that it really feels that we're a few months away from this thing officially.
Cyberpunk. So I think for today we'll start with a question that everybody wants to know. How does the path you pick affect your time in Night City?
It actually affects your time quite a lot throughout the whole game, but let's start at the beginning, because basically our game has 3 different starts depending on your life path. As an example, if you choose the Street Kid life path, you have lived most of your time in Night City. You know the streets, you know the gangs, you know the slang, you kind of know what's going on in the, let's say, lower life aspects of the city, which can of course give you lots of good opportunities also later on in the game. But if you start as a nomad, you actually used to be part of a nomad clan and a nomad family, because nomads that roam the deserts around Night City, that we call the Badlands, actually value their family above anything. But for one reason or another, you actually left that family behind, and now the beginning of the game for you will actually be how to get into Night City and how to make a new life there. Then you can also choose to actually be a corpo and choose the corporate life path. And that basically means that you're not at home in the streets of Night City or in the deserts of the Badlands, but actually inside a boardroom, because you rose the corporate ladder of the Arasaka Corporation, which basically gives you the ability to sometimes, read between the lines, read people when they're trying to do business, which of course can give you many nice opportunities later on.
So this isn't just about the start of the game. Can you maybe help people understand how this translates into the gameplay?
Yeah. So the thing is, we make Cyberpunk a real RPG, and part of that is that you can play your character from the start to the end. And of course, we have these life paths affecting the beginning of the game, but we wanted to make it so you have your life path opportunities throughout the whole game until the game is over. And as an example, we do that by giving you additional options in dialogues. So I can give you one specific example. And this is a mission where you have to steal a flathead robot from the Maelstrom gang. Basically, those Maelstromers stole that flathead before from a corporate transport. And the owner of that corporate transport, Meredith Stout, wants you to do something else. And this is an optional objective. And even within that objective, we want to give you some options. So as an example, if you have a corporate life path, you basically know what Meredith Stout is really about. You can read between the lines, and you can get some additional options that maybe actually later enable you to do a completely different thing with the Maelstrom gang. And if you're a nomad, you know exactly some more details about how these Maelstromers would have even been able to steal a robot like that from Meredith Stout, who's part of the very powerful Militech Corporation. As a Street Kid, we as an example don't give you a specific new dialogue option in that dialogue, because as a Street Kid, you do not have a lot of experience dealing with higher up people like Meredith Stout. But we want to give you additional options that fit your life path very well. So later when you actually talk to the Maelstrom gang, one member of the gang offers you some illegal substance, but as a Street Kid, you actually know what this is about. You can talk some shop with him, and that might actually make that character like you a little bit more.
So Philip, I do have...
See, I like this way they're handling life paths. I wish that there was a little bit more crossover, and that it wasn't just, hey, where's your starting point? The way I feel it was a little bit led up to... Trying to think how to put this. Given how... I think the way it was that we were led to believe how the life story and the backstory would be, it would feel a little bit more dynamic. It wouldn't just be kind of you're corporate, you're locked into this corporate, and I maybe it will be, it's just kind of one of those things that we're going to have to wait and see how it actually works, when we get our hands on it. But I just can't. Can you guys kind of get what I'm saying? That to me, it seems a little. It seems like a little like it's locking you into something from the very start. But I get it. It's probably design complications and everything. And I'm not saying what they're doing doesn't sound interesting and fun. I'm just saying it seems a little... one note's not the word. It seems a little stiff and rigid to me from a storytelling perspective. Not bad, just, like I said, stiff.
I have a couple of extra questions for you based on the video we just saw. And the first is about nomads. So the nomad life path, this starts in a place called the Badlands. Is this somewhere you get to visit even if you don't pick nomad to start with?
Yes, absolutely. So the thing is, Night City is surrounded by this huge landscape that we call the Badlands, and you can go there whenever you want. So as an example, if you actually do play the Nomad life path at the start and you are in the Badlands, you can even see Night City on the horizon. And we want to give you the option later in the game, if you want, you can just take your car and drive out of the city. You can go there whenever you want. The thing is, you might not want to, because the Badlands can be a pretty dangerous place at first, because time has not been very kind to the Badlands. There have been many wars in the past, there's global warming, so most people that do live out there don't really have another choice about it, or are nomads that love this life and are all about it and are very battle-hardened. We of course also want to tell their stories, because we want to tell many different stories throughout the cyberpunk genre, which means that you will also find missions that lead you out in the Badlands or where you deal with the people living there.
So Philip, can you tell us a little bit more
really
about
want to make
Padre?
a buggy.
He's the guy we see giving his business card to Street Kid V in the video. Who is this man?
Yeah, so Padre is actually one of the fixers in Night City. And fixers are people that work as intermediaries. So if someone who has a lot of money needs a problem solved, they go to a fixer. And a fixer then finds people who can solve that problem. And these people are people like you, the cyberpunks. Fixers are very territorial. So Padre specifically works from Haywood, which is where you as a street kid grew up in, so you already know him. You might have already seen another one of our fixers who is called Dexter Deshawn, and he works in a different part of the city. So specifically Padre, you might know him as a street kid, but even if you played other life paths, you might sooner or later meet him because he's operating in Haywood, which is a pretty big place with many good jobs. So if you want to make some cash there, you will sooner or later deal with Padre.
Philip, thank you so much for joining us. Now on my first playthrough, pretty sure I'm going to be picking Nomad, but for those watching, we would love to know what you'll be picking, so have a think about it and send us a tweet. Don't forget that later in this episode, we're going to be showing you another new gameplay video and having a chat to Pavel, our senior gameplay designer, about just some of the tools of destruction that will be at your disposal in Night City. But before that, let's talk about music, because music plays a huge part in bringing Night City to life. Now in future episodes, we're going to talk about things like radio stations and even the original score. But today, we're going to take a look behind the scenes at how Refused to bringing Johnny Silverhand's band, Samurai, to life.
You know, it's something that I really haven't kind of thought about. Something that I haven't really thought about or talked about with this game is the actual narrative of the game. I mean, I really don't know what this game's about. I mean, I know that we're going to be this kind of pseudo mercenary doing shit in this cyberpunk city, but I don't know what like what the idea or what the main goal of the story is, and I find that really exciting. I kind of like how they haven't kind of come out and told us exactly what we're doing, because it kind of gives me the feeling that it's going to be very kind of nebulous, kind of very much choose your own adventure. I mean, clearly there is going to be, you know, there's going to be a start, middle, and end. There's going to be a main narrative path, but I like the fact that we don't really know what it is, and I have a very strong feeling it's going to be tied into your backstory. I really like that idea, because I feel like so much nowadays we go into games knowing almost everything about it. We know. Because, you know, devs do stuff like this, but I like the way CD Projekt Red is doing these little short episodes, because they're revealing stuff and giving us information without giving us too much information that's going to make it go, okay, I know the basic plot of the game. Now fill in the gaps. No, I don't know the basic plot. I know the concept. I don't know the plot. I like that. It just goes to show CD Projekt Red's got a shitload of talent.
I wouldn't write these lyrics for myself. So it's kind of interesting to get into like the mindset of who is this character and what would they write about, or what's their agenda. It's interesting to try to like catch a language that's his, and try to catch a language that's like part of this game.
How you doing, Keanu?
There is a reason why we're here.
Oh, I was right. They were Swedish.
It was Piotr maybe who was a fan of the band.
He knew Refused and he knew my voice, and he said, oh, that's a perfect voice for Johnny.
And that they wanted, I guess, a sound that was a bit contemporary from when Johnny's supposed to have had the band, because he's sort of like an anti-establishment kind of guy.
Gonna drag a corporal rat on stage, make him kneel, douse him with gas, then light him up.
So of course there are things that you can relate to, and like just like this outcast and this rebel that's fighting against like the corporals, and that's definitely something that's been a part of my life and a part of Refused life.
We came out of the punk rock scene of northern Sweden.
He's like the future version of us, you know? So I think it makes sense. I think it totally makes sense for us to be here making these songs about him or for him, you know? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No trills. But yeah, but like wide vibrato.
And then, I mean, just sort of build, slowly build sort of intensity.
We don't have a different mode than just going all in. So we really worked on these songs, trying to make them as good as possible. But then they're not actually our songs.
It's interesting as a musician to play another musician, because that's essentially what we're doing. I mean, we're not here as Refused, we're here as Samurai. And I'm here with Johnny Silverhand, you know? So it's like the voice we're representing here is someone else.
We'll never fade away!
It's been a mind fuck.
You know, I just said that I think CD Projekt Red, just there's so much talent at the studio, which come on, did any of us think any different about CD Projekt Red? And if you did, what rock have you been living under? But just the balls of the studio, just the creativity. Like, how many studios would go to a real life punk rock band and say, "Hey, we want you to be this fictitious band in our game"? It's just, to me, for some reason, to me, I know that just seems like such an obvious thing, you know, just such a, you know, oh yeah, it would make sense so that you get a real band to play a band in your game, you know, have them compose the music for this band in your game. Like, that makes perfect sense. But to actually go out and do it, I just feel like there's not a lot of studios that would take that risk, that would go out and put that time and want that sort of authenticity in it. And again, you know, you want to tell me that I'm sitting here jerking off CD Projekt Red a little bit, but deserved, in my opinion.
I mean, the shouting in itself is just like second nature to me, because I've been doing this for a very long time. But then when someone comes in and says,
I'm happy with everything except for Azza Lim. Again, it's Azza. Azza.
I think we had it earlier, but let's do one more.
Okay.
The shouting's great, but think of that accent, or think of that like enunciation. It's a bit weird because it's a very different way of singing when you're screaming like that, and it's hard to sort of
Swallowing some syllables there.
adjust your accent.
Oh yeah, just try it again.
So it's been a bit at times frustrating.
It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great.
But I mean, I get it. I mean, we have to maintain the illusion that this character that's a character of the game also is me, like when I'm singing it. So it makes sense. But yeah, it's a bit different to have someone telling you exactly how to enunciate things, because I'm not used to you.
And see, and another thing, it's not just getting a band to be a fictitious band. It's also getting this guy to not only sing and be himself a musician, but he also has to be a character. Like that's the other thing. It's not just getting a band and renaming them and, you know, calling them something different and having them compose the music. It's also making them a character in and of itself. Even when they're singing, they still have to think of character things. They have to think of the accent. They have to think of this. They have to think of that. That's what I mean by the talent and the balls on CD Projekt Red. That's what I mean by that statement. I just don't think a lot of studios would take that risk, would take it to this extent, or this idea to this extent. I think we're in for one hell of a game. I keep saying it.
Usually people are just like give me a thumbs up, and then like, you know, you think the things like the rhythm, and you think about the pitch, and you think about all these things, but then someone comes in and like, that word sounded weird. I'm like, what? No, it's how I sing. But so it's been a very a bit painful at times, but it's all right.
See this zone, I'm chipping in. Roll the bones, I'm chipping in. Belt that cone, I'm chipping in. Mayhem flows.
It's a very interesting thing to be part of. As a person that's not a gamer, I don't think I fully understand the impact that this might have. If people like these songs and if people are excited, then that's going to be great. I mean, we are spending a lot of times trying to get this right, trying to get it to sound like, you know, like Samurai would sound, you know. So it's quite interesting. It's a very different way of making music, actually.
See, I think that's an interesting point. That, as he said, you know, he's not a gamer. That, you know, that he doesn't understand what a big difference this will make. But I mean, I think this makes a huge difference, because again, I think this is it's what I was just getting at. It's what I was just kind of reiterating. It's not just that they got a band to do music for their game, and this band, you know, we're just going to call this, you know, they are literally not just making a band, they're making a character, they're making them a part of this world. I mean, music in games and everything does, I'm sure he understands this, you know, I mean, as a musician, I mean, pretty much anybody in music knows this, in film and any form of media like this, music does play a role. It helps some people are a little bit more cognizant of others, but music can manipulate us. It can help set tone. It can help set mood, even if it's in the background and we don't notice it. But it can influence the way we feel about something. Like I said, it can either set the mood or set the tone, or it can accentuate and further expand on that. But what they're doing here, it's like I said, it's not just that. They're in essence becoming part of this game world, which is just, again, what I think is so, if I haven't made it clear yet, that is what I think is so fucking cool about this. They are becoming a part of the world. They aren't just music and sound that the characters that the player is hearing. It is something tangible. It's a real thing in the game, and I think that is the most outstanding an amazing part of this. Find my mouse again. Shit.
You can already find 3 Samurai tracks available on streaming services: Chippin' In, Never Fade Away, and The Ballad of Buck Gravers. But we're excited to announce a 4th new song called A Like Supreme, which is coming to streaming services today. That means you can check it out once the show is over. Don't forget that if you're tuning in late, or if you just want to watch anything again, we will be uploading everything to our channel soon. Next up, Pavel and I are going to introduce you to some creative ways that you can solve problems in Night City.
Oh, by the way, video link in the description as always. Forgot to mention.
Hey V, I have a job for you. A client of mine is making an arms deal. He needs protection. It could get hot, very hot. The gun dealers on Maelstrom. Alas, nothing ever transpires as planned with them. You better gear up for this.
Okay. I really like the idea of the smart weapons. It's not a new idea. You know, I mean, games have used concepts like this. Hell, Borderlands used a concept like this in their last game. But there's something about just the look of some of these weapons that I really like. I really like the feel and the weight to them, or at least what it looks like they feel like. Again, things that we'll only know when we actually play the game. But it seems like there is a weight to them. There's something about them that I like. I like all the different weapon classes and everything, how you can kind of pick your everything, pick your loadout to the way that you want to play, mixed with the fact that I know there's weaknesses and elemental effects and shit like that, that this game also has, which I'm kind of interested to see how that all plays out. But yeah, it's like I said at the start, I typically find RPGs. I don't want to say RPGs with guns don't work, because I think that's what I made it sound like, and that's not what I meant. I just think that sometimes they're trying to emulate sword and shield fantasy RPGs. Yeah, because I feel like Mass Effect Andromeda was trying to be that way. Just with the way the environments worked, the just random enemy encounters out in the world worked, that game just didn't feel right. That's what I'm saying is it's almost a completely different beast from fantasy type RPGs, which is kind of where the slightest bit of apprehension about this idea, the slightest bit of just tug that I felt was, okay, this is a studio, a CD Projekt, who has done amazing genre-defining RPGs and fantasy, and now they're doing guns and cyberpunk. It's a complete 180. Hell, going from a third-person to a first-person perspective, making a shooter and not a sword and shield game. So, how's it going to work? But, and again, maybe it's just hype videos that I've been seeing, but I do like the fact that the weapons look like they have a weight, that from everything I've heard, level design has been a very big focus in this game. So, I just have a very good feeling about it. But again, if there's one thing that I'm worried about, it's how the guns are going to feel, how everything feels. It's the best way I can put it is how the game is going to feel. A thermal katana. You know what? I might actually use that. I might use that for my Netrunner. I do like that idea. Oh, this is definitely going in my Night Runner, though. Go full Deus Ex. Yeah, probably not this stuff, but I know you can take those,
So,
what is it?
are you willing?
Well,
I'm in.
I think we saw it in, it wasn't the last Night City Wire, but we've seen it before, that you can use your like little wrist jack things for computers and use them like
Now, there was
whips.
an awful lot in that video, right? Because it's more than just guns.
Absolutely. We have melee weapons, we have ranged weapons, we have cyberware, we have offensive cyberware, defensive cyberware, armor. We could talk for hours and hours about this stuff.
I think just for today's episode, we should keep it simple and let's just talk about guns. Can you tell us the different types of guns that will be in the game?
So we have 3 distinct types of guns in our game. We have power weapons, we have tech weapons, and we have smart weapons. Now, power weapons are the most similar to contemporary weapons. One thing they can do, which normal weapons cannot,
General
is
ballistics.
ricochet bullets off of surfaces. So you can hit somebody hiding behind cover or hiding behind a wall.
Okay.
Now, tech weapons, on the other hand, use electromagnetic power to propel a fully metal projectile to extreme velocities. What that allows them to do. Now, tech weapons, on the other
All right, I wanna go back slightly because
cover or hiding behind a wall. Now, tech weapons, on the other hand, hiding behind a
son of a bitch. Wait for it.
is ricochet bullets off of surfaces. So you can hit somebody hiding.
See this, I like this instead of just a typical aim down sight that you can actually kind of. I'm assuming that's gonna be like an optical upgrade or something. But I like that idea that you can actually see how it's going to bounce and ricochet and everything. It's a neat concept.
Hiding behind a wall. Now, tech weapons, on the other hand, use electromagnetic power to propel a fully metal projectile to extreme velocities. What that allows.
Just from an aesthetic point of view, I really kind of like how the weapons, even like these tech weapons or these the smart weapons, it kind of looks like it's a regular, like as we would consider it nowadays, gun, but with enhancements on it. Like you can actually see, it kind of looks like there's a lot of cybernetic and futuristic shit almost like welded onto it. Like the basic concept of a gun hasn't changed. It's just, you can kind of see some like melding of the times. You can see a little bit of future with a little bit of old school on the guns. I really like it.
Is to punch through cover or punch through walls to hit somebody who's not even.
You kind of see what I mean by it. Kind of looks like a shotgun just with shit like stapled on.
To actually track targets in real time. So you can hit somebody.
Excuse me, sorry.
Dodging, running away from you, or you can hit somebody who's hiding behind cover.
So Pavel, Cyberpunk doesn't just contain FPS elements, right? It's also a fully fledged RPG. So can you tell us how you guys approached introducing those RPG elements into gunplay?
So I can tell you one thing, Holly, it wasn't easy to merge those 2 elements together. Now, we've spent a considerable amount of time merging the RPG and FPP side of our game. What the player will experience is that V changes from a small-time mercenary to a legend in the world of Night City. V becomes more and more proficient in using weapons as the game progresses. So they will see that reload times become shorter, the accuracy of your weapons grows, you will have faster aiming time, you will move faster with your weapons. Everything becomes more in your control, and that gives you more opportunities to defeat the biggest encounters that we've designed for you.
So I have prepared a few extra questions for you, Pavel, if you're feeling up to it.
Of course.
Okay, well the first is going to be, how do you find more weapons in Night City? Like, where will players be looking for them?
So I expect the players to look everywhere for new and exciting weapons. You can, of course, buy weapons at vendor shops, and they will house an entire catalog of weaponry that you can get. However, the best weapons that you can find will be taken from enemies or loot caches that we have everywhere in Night City. The weapons rarities range from common through uncommon up to rare and then legendary. And as they go in rarity, they actually climb in power. However, legendary weapons are very specific in such a way that they possess unique abilities that you will find on no other weapons in the game. The players will actually need to make some tough choices to find some legendary weapons, because maybe they need to choose whether to kill a person who holds the legendary weapons that they want, or to spare them because they like them as a character.
So next question, let's talk about weapon modifications. What mods can people give to their weapons in Night City?
Before we get into that, now I like the approach that makes it sound. I mean, it seems like a very basic approach. Like you know, that's at least the bare minimum of what you have to do to make guns in an RPG work. I still feel like they're not that. What's the expression? They're not giving away the not giving away the race. I don't know. That I might maybe just made that up. But they're not. Again, they're not giving away too much. They're not over explaining. I think he just kind of gave the bare bones. Like I said, what I think the bare minimum of it being in RPG with shooting elements. I mean, there's a reason why I've said that Mass Effect 2 is probably my favorite of the Mass Effect franchise. It's because Mass Effect 2 knew when to be a shooter and when to be an RPG. If you can't do both at the same time, Andromeda, don't try and do both at the same time. Do one or the other at any given moment. I'm hoping, obviously, that Cyberpunk fuses these so much better, but you know what I mean. And I think they will. It's just like I said, I don't think they're giving away too much. I think they're just giving us the bare bones. Mixed with that idea of the legendary weapons. I like that idea. That you're going to have to decide, kill the character to get the weapon or keep him around because you like the character. And that's just always a fun option.
So we have two types of modifications in the game. One of them would be modifications that we call attachments. So these would be scopes and silencers, and you can see them actually being attached to your weapon as you're playing the game. They give you statistics advantage, and they give you more opportunities in gameplay. The other part of mods would be software mods. Now these are basically small chips that you install in your weapon, and they actually change the statistics of the gun. They can give you damage, they can give you accuracy, or they can give you more fire rate. Some of those mods actually change the gunplay on a more fundamental level, so they can give you non-lethal rounds, biochemical rounds, to tear through that armor even faster.
So I suppose for my
So it kind of reminds me of runes from The Witcher 3.
final question, why don't you tell us about your favorite weapon then? Which is your favorite weapon so far in Night City?
Oh, there are so many weapons that it's hard to choose just one, but I can mention some manufacturers with their weapons that I absolutely adore. The first manufacturer would be Tsunami Defense Systems, who produces the sniper rifle Nekomata. That's a tech sniper rifle. That means that it can pierce through walls, so you can actually hit somebody who's hiding behind cover or who doesn't even know you're there. Of course, I also like a close quarters approach. And what that needs is a shotgun. One of the shotguns that we have in the game is Budget Arms Carnage. Now that thing is cast from pure steel and it weighs a ton. However, you can cut a person clean in half with it. Another shotgun that I absolutely love, it's for a more refined approach, I would say, is a smart shotgun, Kangtao Zhuo. That thing has 8 barrels, and that means it can track 8 targets independently. Now, killing an entire room was never simpler.
Pavel, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm actually pretty interested to see what kind of...
I mean, he names one weapon class that I use a lot. Like, I love sniper rifles in these kind of games, but god damn it, talk about the pistols. Come on.
People discover when they play Cyberpunk for themselves. Before we end episode 2, this is a reminder that those who wish to dive deeper into the lore can now pick up The World of Cyberpunk 2077. This is a brand new book created in collaboration with Dark Horse Books that will give you an extensive look at what makes Night City tick before jumping into the game this November. That is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget that if you've missed anything or if you just want to watch again, we will be uploading everything to our channels shortly. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back with Night City Wire Episode 3 soon.
All right, well, there you go. I pretty much said everything I need to say during the video. I'm all on board the hype train. I really like the approach that they're going with Night City Wire. That they're not revealing too much. They're quick to the point. I feel this one was a little bit more focused, and I think we saw a little bit more of how everything affects gameplay more so than in the first Night City Wire. So again, I just really think they're just ramping up to launch, and I can't wait. So really, that's about all I've got for you guys right now. Just a few quick announcements or comments. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, let me know like what you guys think. What do you think about my idea for like a dual LP? I'm curious about that because again, it's something that I'd really like to do. Because I like I said, I think it's fun. It's a cool way to kind of show you guys multiple different sides and everything. Plus, more content for the channel. Other than that, I'm planning on doing the weekly show on Sunday. So you keep an eye out for that. That's coming back. Trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like there was something else, but I can't remember what it is. So I guess I'll just leave it here. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, social media is in the description. Like, comment, not already. Please subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more next time. But until then, my name's AJ Gale. This is Silver the Game Channel. I'm out.